Nashville, Tennessee. How are we doing tonight? Welcome to the very first Deliciously Nothing podcast presents Matthew Blevins and Friends comedy special. That's a huge mouthful, but we've got a lot of great talent here from all over Nashville. I'm excited. They're all very close personal friends of mine. I'm so happy to have them out here tonight. Are you guys ready to just get right into some comedy? Yeah! All right, this guy's doing shows all over the place. I think you're going to catch him at the Comedy Catch soon, if not other locations in Nashville. Give it up for the very funny Seth Kays.
Thank you. I love coming down here. You always see something that you're just not expecting. As I was driving down here, I passed a auto mechanic place that was called Picasso's Auto. I'm like, really? That's the artist you decided to name your mechanic shop after? Like, it'd be cool if it was called like Rembrandt Auto, because you know Rembrandt, known for some very realistic looking pictures, and Picasso, the guy who's notorious for having paintings that look like jigsaw puzzles that are put together wrong. That's not where I want to go to get my car fixed. I don't want to show up and they're just like, oh, hey, by the way, we decided the engine would look better in the trunk. It's like, I don't have a trunk. They're like, oh, hey, guess what? You got a trunk now. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I do like my car, though. I spend a lot of time in my car. I go on road trips a lot. Anybody like road tripping? Woo! I think my favorite thing about road trips are the billboards in rural America. It's either for like strip clubs and porn shops or like Jesus. Like, I think the best one I saw recently, I saw it last year actually, and it said, there is evidence for God next to a picture of a baby. I was like, I really think babies are more evidence of Satan than anything else. It's just me, or like y'all remember that saying that came from It's a Wonderful Life? That's every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings. Pretty sure every time a toddler screams in the middle of a Walmart, a demon gets a new soul. We just lose somebody to the dark side. We don't know who. Could be the Antichrist. You never know. I know. But I saw that billboard on the way to Holiday World. Has anyone heard of Holiday World? Anybody been to Holiday World? Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about. Holiday World is a theme park that is in the middle of a cornfield in Indiana. And it's themed after the holidays. So it's basically Disney World for white trash. It's a great time. And I went there with my girlfriend last year, who's black actually. It's important because when you're an interracial couple, you have some weird challenges you have to face sometimes. And so we went to Holiday World. We took an edible on our way out there, and it hit me like 20 minutes before we got there. And you know how it's like you suddenly get really high and the world suddenly seems like you're driving a spaceship? Like you're not actually moving forward, everything is like zooming past you and you don't really have control of your ups and downs anymore. You're just like, I hope we get there. This will be good. But so that's the state of mind that I was in when we showed up at Holiday World. And we got in line for this one roller coaster in the Halloween land. I will say I had lunch in Thanksgiving land and had a full Thanksgiving dinner for lunch. It was amazing. Everyone should go. Free soda as well. Yeah, it was dope. But we're in line for this roller coaster. And suddenly out of nowhere I just felt like this burning presence on the back of my neck, like just a sixth sense. And I turned around and there was a woman like 60 feet behind us in line, just staring right at us. And you could just feel the racism. Like her eyes were basically saying, what is this? You can't mix the races. Chocolate vanilla swirls for ice cream, not for people. What? Y'all need some Jesus. Honestly, I was too high to handle this. I was like, I'm not gonna go confront this woman in the middle of a line. Also, she was by the front of the line, and I didn't want to lose my place, so I just turned around and did the only natural thing a high person would do. I read the signs leading up to the roller coaster. It's a good time. Thank you. Someone gets it. But I'm glad I did, because this really showed me what kind of park Holiday World is. The sign began by saying, all riders must have at least one functioning arm. Oh, it gets better. One leg and at least one leg remnant at or below the knee. They were very specific. And I gotta be honest, I feel really bad for the 17-year-old kid running the line at the top who sees the dude who just waited 45 minutes in line. He's just like, sorry bro, the doctor screwed up and he cut you off above the knee. Just need a couple more inches, like that close. Sorry dude. But they wanted to be inclusive, which I thought was cool, because the next sentence said, guests who do not meet these minimum requirements may receive help through the use of additional harnesses. Which basically just means they're going to ratchet strap your ass in that roller coaster. Like you're a bunch of 2x4s in the back of a pickup truck, just, you're going to enjoy this whether you want to or not. Yeah. And then it kept going. It was great. It said, rows 2 and 3 may accommodate guests of larger size, which basically in that language could have just said, hey, fatty, get over there to rows 2 and 3. Put a little extra room in the seat to accommodate your fat ass. Come on. But then it finished with something I've seen all over the place. The typical, like, no shirt, no shoes, no service kind of thing. And I've seen that everywhere. They always say it. No shirt, no shoes. Recently it's been no mask, no service. But they never mention pants. Like, are you allowed to just Porky Pig yourself around this theme park? Like, you allowed to do the Daffy Duck, but not the Donald Duck, because, Daffy just was naked. And, you can do the Donald Duck because he had the shirt on. So I do want to know, can you do the Mickey Mouse, which is where your pants go above your nipples, like you're like a 90-year-old dude, just waiting to die. But, Nick, what was I talking about? Signs! That's it, signs! I was talking about signs. Yeah, no shirt, no shoes, no service. I actually saw one of these at the Piggly Wiggly on West End recently. And as I was walking by it, because I was getting Chinese food, I saw a dude in a wheelchair who was a double amputee being rolled by. And I thought, wouldn't it be weird if they wouldn't let him in because he wasn't wearing shoes? Like, how messed up would that be? Like, he's got the mask on and everything, and he rolls in, and they're just like, no, sir, I'm sorry. Rules are rules. We had it on the door. And he just turns around and just like, well, I guess I'll just go fuck myself, and rolls away. Ugh, poor man. I'm going to leave y'all on this thought I had recently. Do you think if Shania Twain wrote Man, I Feel Like a Woman Today, it would become like the trans anthem of America? Like, I see it blowing up on TikTok. I got all these dances and stuff to it, but like the first time she decides to actually like perform it, I feel like Ben Shapiro would just like Kool-Aid Man through the wall, just but what is a woman? No, really, I need to know. I have never seen one. What is this female you speak of? My name's Seth Kays. Let's give it up for Matthew Blevins.
Keep it going for Seth Kays, you guys. That guy definitely needs some Jesus. That's for sure. That's all I got out of his set. He needs Jesus, and he rolled up to the comedy show. He was trying to Porky Pig it. He thought we were going to be filming from here to here. He was very disappointed when I told him we're going to be showing down here. So he went to Walmart and bought those pants. We're all good now. That's what hosting a comedy show is. You shit on people that have just gone up and bared their souls for everyone. This is why I get all the hosting gigs. All right, you guys ready to keep this show going? We've got a very special guest for you tonight. She came in, and I just had to let her on because she's an awesome soul and a very funny comedian. Give it up for Emily Nakanishi. I got it.
It's not easy to get it, so I'm really proud of you. Woo. I'm really proud of you for even trying it. I thought about doing my comedic name as Emily Nakanishi every time I came on anywhere, because nobody can get it. So, one thing I'll tell you right off the bat is, as I was driving here, I saw a sign and I thought it said urgent cake. And I was like, oh, thank God, they finally fucking deliver. I need that in a pinch. Is an urgent care. I mean, I do also usually need those in a pinch, but they don't deliver. So, if you've seen me any at all recently, which you all have, ha ha ha, you know that I recently got married. Thank you for clapping for that. You also know that I recently came out of a coma. Thank you for not clapping for that, because that's like clapping when the plane lands. The bare minimum, thank God, you're alive. Like, people have clapped for that and I've been like, no, that's not the joke. That's not the funny part, guys. You can wait. But no, so I went into a coma because I'm epileptic. So I got married, and then like the next week, I went into a coma. You know, instead of on a honeymoon. I guess that's what marriage does to you. I figured it was a pretty good introduction to spending the rest of our lives together. I had a really big seizure. That's not the funny part. Don't clap. And then they ventilated me. It was really terrible. I lost a tooth, which is fine. I'm from Missouri. It's fine, whatever. I live in Tennessee. It's not like I don't fit in. So anyway, yes, went into a coma. And then I decided to start trying comedy again. I tried it a little bit at home, and I decided since I was already shaking up her life with my seizures, I would just go forward and look at all the opportunities presented to me, and I would just seize the day, every day for the rest of my life. It's funny because it's a pun. You can laugh at that one, even though it makes you feel bad. You can laugh at that one. My seizures, yes, it's okay. It's a comedy show. You get to make fun of me tonight. I like your laugh. But that's also why I brought my phone, because I can't remember shit. We're lucky I remembered to come. But yes, good introduction to her life with me. She did have to go through my parents. And my wife is not very close with her parents at all, in the slightest.
Woo!
So the whole being introduced to my parents thing was terrifying for her. It made it worse that my mom is a kindergarten teacher, right? That's nice, kind, cuddly, right? My dad's a cop. So I'm like, hey, we eloped, now you gotta meet my dad. She's like, oh, shit. He's gonna shoot me. Like, the only person he's ever shot was himself. Accidentally, when the gun went off and he grazed his leg. So we do like to say, you know, cops shoot themselves with their own guns all the time. We've said that in my house our entire lives, and I'm just really glad that my dad has never died. I know who they look at, and it's my mom. But so, yeah, so she's a kindergarten teacher. He's a cop. I run into a lot of her students, and the thing is they're both working in a small town with the last name Nakanishi. We're like friggin' famous. We go to Walmart and we have to wear nice clothes because I'm running into somebody who my mom has either taught in her 20 long years of teaching, or in my dad's 20 some odd years of policing, he's arrested or worked with, but it's Missouri. It's more likely you run into somebody who's arrested. And I hate to say it, but sometimes they cross over. So I never really know if I'm going to be talking to somebody like, hey, my mom taught you how to read. Congratulations. Or, hey, your dad dug heroin out of my ass last week. And it's really weird when it's like, oh, I had your mom in kindergarten, and your dad dug heroin out of my ass last week. Like, wow, the reading thing did not work out for you. It didn't go so great. She was in college while I was a toddler. So I was her senior thesis. Because apparently if you could teach me to read, you could teach anything to read. She often says, I could teach a rock to read. So to anybody who's graduated her kindergarten class, if you still can't read, that's a nice folder. I like that folder. That's what you have. You don't have a child, you have a rock. And my mom couldn't teach it how to read. I know, sounds like I'm making fun of the dumb kids. It's okay, I was one of them. Aww. It's all the brain damage from the seizures. My favorite thing about my mom, though, is that I'm really not allowed to make like any grammatical mistakes ever. So like when I was growing up, it was always, hey, can I go jump off a bridge if all my friends do too? And she's like, may you go jump off a bridge if all your friends do too? No. But it also means that I'm a pretty voracious reader, and I read words I have never heard said aloud. Here are some of my favorites. My personal sins include notification, because I thought it was pronounced like notify. It's notification, which I'm reminded of frequently. Monotony, instead of monotony. But my aunt looks at the emergency vehicle in her rearview mirror and says, ambulance. She looks at the ingredients of her Diet Coke and says, aspartame, instead of aspartame. My wife, though, she's a voracious reader who's also hard of hearing, so there's a lot of shit she hasn't heard out loud. My favorite Pokemon is now called a Haphazard instead of haphazard. The PH together make the fuzz sound. And the other morning, at like 5:30 in the morning, she's standing on one side of the baby gate. I'm standing on the other one. So we have a baby gate for our dog. Because we're lesbians. We can't just pop out children. We get a dog. And she says, well, I guess we're at an impasse. I'm like, we're at a what? She's like, you know, like a Mexican standoff. I'm like, is that what you think is the way you pronounce the Spanish word for Mexican standoff? She's like, I always assumed. I'm like, it's impasse. We're at an impasse. I'm lucky she puts up with me. So, you know, I just had to come in and shake her world up, shake yours up too. I'm Emily Nakanishi. Thank you so much.
One more time for Elizabeth Nakanishi.
You got the last name.
You see
right?
what I
That's
did
all
there?
asked.
I fucked up the first name, and I got that's just inside baseball. All right, one more round of applause for Emily Nakanishi. Thank you, very funny stuff. All right, this next guy, he was one of the most supportive comics that I met when I came to Nashville, and you know, he's just awesome. Any place that he goes is just instantly better for having him there.
You got the last name.
You see
right?
what I
That's all
did there?
asked.
I fucked up the first name, and I got that's just inside baseball. All right, one more round of applause for Emily Nakanishi. Thank you, very funny stuff. All right, this next guy, he was one of the most supportive comics that I met when I came to Nashville, and you know, he's just awesome. Any place that he goes is just instantly better for having him there. Like, that's not hyperbole. Nic Weir is a light for humanity. Make it loud for him, you guys. Give it up for Nic Weir.
Hello. I love that he said all those great things about me, and I'm just going to talk about my dick the entire time. Just letting you know. I'm also like 50 milligrams deep right now. I'm something right now. So, okay. I've got one of those smartwatches, you know what I mean? I don't know why they call them smart. I think they are assholes. That is their trait, okay? Listen, these things can log you when you masturbate as workouts. Okay? And it'll send notifications to people letting them know you're doing a workout. So I got a message from a buddy of mine, and he just was like, hey man, I see you're working out now. Like, I'm really proud of you. And I played along, and I was just like, yeah, dude, I love arm day. Love it. This is the best. This is my favorite. Wow, Nick did 5 arm workouts in 2 hours on Thursday. What? What? Yeah. All right. I I have what you guys would call blue collar dick. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. Because not much, but it does honest work.
Oh, yeah.
You know? I had one lady say that my dick was like a Bruce Springsteen song. Just dancing in the dark. Alright. I need to change topics now. Okay. Ooh, I don't know if I want to do this one. Okay.
Do it.
I'm not really worried about another world war, you know? Because like we're kind of like we've won 2, right? So we're kind of like the '90s Chicago Bulls of World War. We're just 4 more wins away. Okay, that's all I'm saying. I think if it did happen, I feel like Biden would probably write 3-peat on the bomb. Yes. Okay. There's something I just really hate. I really hate people that do the lottery, you know? I really hate lottery tickets. I think gambling is like just the lamest addiction. You know what I mean? To me it is a waste of my time, all right? I just get mad, just like become an alcoholic instead. Do that. You know? I think that is a good idea. I would rather you just drive blasted out of your ass than waste my time when I am just trying to get like $10 on pump 2 at the gas station. It is my biggest pet peeve. I think the next person I see buying lottery tickets, I'm just gonna punch them in the face. I don't know. They make me that mad. They make me that mad. See, I'm a big fan of the shoe slogans, you know, like Nike, just do it, Vans, off the wall. Your dad doesn't love you, Doc Martens. That's just the shoe. I really like Doc Martens. I love being able to tell someone's kinks based on their footwear. I do. Yeah. That is my type, is women that wear Doc Martens. That is all. That's all I'm trying to say. The other night, someone told me that they had 4 pairs of Doc Martens. And I immediately went over there and bought her a drink. Just wanted you guys to know that. I play a lot of video games. I do. I like them a lot. I've been playing Animal Crossing quite a bit. If you've never played that game, you basically fly to an island and then make your own HOA. That's it. That's what you do. It's kind of like gentrification simulator. You know what I mean? Like, every one of my businesses has a BLM sign and a pride flag. I'm working on a coffee shop next. One that you can't wear shoes in. You know? I don't know. Just trying to make it as pretentious as possible. Alright, I'm not a big fan of reality TV. Is anyone reality TV fans in here? A little bit? Okay. I have my own version of reality TV. I call it the real baby mamas of my hometown. It's just, anytime I open up Instagram, they're always there smoking cheap cigarettes, you know, just and using all these crazy filters. And over on Facebook, they're making Facebook pages just for their pyramid schemes, selling Tupperware. You know, like, and these are people I've known my whole life. Some of these people have good jobs. Like, what? I don't know. Just gonna keep saying that. Arguing with your parents as an adult is kind of interesting. You know? Like, I got into an argument with my mom the other day, and she was like, I'm gonna take away your Xbox. I'm like, Mom, I don't live with you. What? Are you gonna drive 20 minutes across town? You don't have a key. I'll just you shall not pass. Like, I don't know what that woman is thinking at all. Okay. I went out on a date recently. It was to a bocce place. Okay, fun. Didn't realize hibachi was as sexual as it was. You know what I mean? Come on. So we're there, we're drinking, and the chef noticed, and the chef was like, "Hey, would you guys like some free sake?" Yes, of course. Who says no to free booze, right? You know. And so he just like whips this bottle out of his belt. I did not see where this thing came from. I don't know. And he just puts it up in my face, and he's like, "Open up." And I said, "Yes, Daddy." I'm just I'm a good boy, you know. And he squirts it in my mouth, and he squirts it into my date's mouth. So this liquor is running down our faces. And I looked at her and said, "I think we were just in a sake bukkake." There you go. Perfect. My name's Nic Weir. Thank you so much.
Keep it going for Nic Weir, you guys. Hell yeah. I have never seen so much art written about such an unremarkable dick. That's like, yes. It's like when Henry David Thoreau decided to concentrate so much effort on that one pond. That's me riffing. All right, our next comic, he is the brother I choose, basically. He was like the co-founder of I-29 Comedy Productions. Everything I ever did that was cool in comedy was with this guy. Make it loud for Tony Geist.
Hello, hello. Not everything. You did some cool shit without me. Anyhow, hey, great to be here. Thanks for having me back. By the way, give it up for the Deliciously Nothing crew. And normally this is it's a music podcast, and so I thought I'd start with a little music joke. Last week, I don't know, shit changes a lot in the entertainment world, but as of last week, James Hetfield, singer of Metallica, I don't know if you heard, is dating Kim Kardashian. Oh, right? Y'all hear about this? My guess is he also went out right away and bought at least a minimum year's supply of Viagra. Because, keeping up with the Kardashians. Yes, leading with the dick joke at 7 years. But, yeah. No, Matt said we did some cool shit. Can I talk about the Magic Castle? Oh, yeah. Okay, all right. We've done some cool, and I got to tell you, I want to be loosely associated with this motherfucker. Matt did a show in Lincoln at one point. Headlined, right? Yeah. Headlined this show, owned by a fellow named Jolly Beans the Clown, and he had a place called the Magic Castle. Yeah, you know what's coming. You know what's coming. And the first thought in my head is, that name, and then he told the rest of the story. It later came out that Jolly Beans was a pederast. He was, can you be any more fucking stereotypical? Anyway, it's scary. All right. I'm not getting a lot of laughs there. We'll move on. I'll still be associated. You didn't know. So, I would have known the minute I heard the name of the owner of the place. Anyhow, I personally, though, I was talking about music. I like a lot of different kinds of music. For that reason, and comedians especially. People have mixed feelings about this app at this point, but I still love Spotify. Yes, I do, and I get it. But it's because my playlist is already in there. First of all, and I'm I already get, so I'll set it to shuffle or whatever. Problem is I'm cheap. So I won't pay for the premium service, And I don't know if this happens to you, but one day I was doing the dishes and stuff, and I hear track comes on, and I get all nostalgic. I'm like, whoa, is Coolio dropping tracks again? I'm a little older, I'm 50. Coolio dropping tracks again, and a little piece of me dies when I realize it's just a DiGiorno's pizza commercial. And another piece of me dies when I realize I can't add it to my playlist. So, I don't know. I turned 50 this year. Yeah, thank you. Survived my own bullshit for 5 decades. So I'm here. And I also moved this year. I don't want to call it a midlife crisis, but I moved across state lines shortly after the beginning of 2022. So I've been in Tennessee about 6 months, roughly, and so I like to say I'm going to tell you, I moved from Nebraska, and seasonal depression in Nebraska is an epidemic. It's bad, and it starts right about now, though. Like, it's a different kind of seasonal depression that starts right about now. It's the Cornhusker football season. I moved from the land of depressed football fans. Yeah, I don't know. They used to be like a dynasty when I was younger. They were the shit, right? And it was like, let's fire another coach. I'm not so. But yeah, I moved from there. I have been realizing too, like, I did a show in Huntsville, and a black comic down there, and he was half joking. He eventually said he was joking, but he's like, I gotta ask, man. He's like, are there black people in Nebraska? I said, I'm from Omaha. Yeah. Like, at first I was like, yeah. But then I started thinking about it. After moving to the South, I'm like, Omaha's fucking white. like, there's black people, and yes, I have my black friends, and but there's black people. It's Omaha, it's a bigger city, but like Nebraska's white, So like I'll be, in the region, and I'll be in a small town, and I'll see black people in small towns, and I'm like, I want to be like, are you all right? And it's not like every town in Nebraska, like they're out to lynch somebody or something. Like it's more just like, people in Nebraska aren't used to seeing black folks. Once you get if you look at a map, where Omaha's on the east end of the state, and then you drive west, and so yeah, because like in college, we went to this small town once, and there was a black dude from our college with us, and when we went into this bowling alley, I'm not kidding you, all the heads turned like, what is going on? Like, what's going on? So, I think I might be watching too much porn. Who am I kidding? Like, I think I might be. I'm watching too much porn. You're watching too much porn with, have you ever like sat there and you find yourself like, I don't know, like 30 pages deep into into Pornhub or whatever. You're like 30 pages deep, right? And still haven't settled on something to nut to. So you just you stop at someone that looks like you're at one of your exes. Like, oh yeah, I recognize that lower back tattoo. And the blonde hair. Anyway, yeah, I don't. And then I was convinced it was her for a minute. I'm like, no, there's no way. There's not much more to that, really. Another one I was thinking about, though, I was thinking about this a while back. I'm horrible at reading signals. Like, I'm working on my confidence still at my age, but I'm horrible at reading signals with the opposite sex. I almost have to have it like, just, hey, I want to fuck you. Like, just like literally, Now there is a lot of my dating and stuff too has been matchmaking, if that's for lack of a better term, like friends or like, hey, you'd really like her. And so I'll give you the story I was thinking about. This gal I hooked up with for a while years ago, my friend calls me at work. I was in my early 30s. And his friend, let's see, what year was it? 2002, 3? Okay, how old am I? 2003. So whatever that was, 17 years ago. Yeah, I was in my 30s. All right. Anyhow, so he calls me up, my roommate. He's like, hey, what are you doing after work tonight? I was like, I don't know, probably catch up on some Vice City missions. I don't know. I was playing Vice City at the time. He's like, you should come meet this girl. I think you're going to hit it off. So it was a friend of his girlfriend. She was back visiting Omaha. She was from Omaha originally, but she was living in California now. Blah, blah, blah. And so the night starts out at this bar, and we're talking or whatever, and it's light flirtation, lightly flirty. And over the course of the night, it just seemed to get more and more like once I sense it, I guess I can engage or whatever. But we're like, so we end up at this dance club, and I'm like, strategically, we're on the dance floor and we're dancing or whatever, and she was strategically placing my hands in place, like she placed my hand on her tit. You know, she had my other hand and she was holding it, rubbing it, and so we're hanging. And so as this is going on, I'm like, I don't know, I think she kind of likes me. Like, so. And then we get outside the dance club, and my friend's like, dude, if you don't get laid tonight, you're the biggest chump in the world. Like, you think? I think I got this one, but like normally, like overall, not really. Yeah. I don't know where I was going with that. So I have been trying to like live a healthier lifestyle. I will share this with you. This last year, reached a milestone in my life. It's been 21 years since I drank or did hard drugs. Thank you. Now, with that being said, I don't preach any kind of anti-alcohol, anti-drug message. I actually encourage younger people to drink and experiment with drugs. How else are you going to find out if you have a problem or not? Never know unless you... That's all I got. I'm Tony Geist.
Give it up for Tony, guys. All right, in my defense, regarding Jolly Bean's Magic Castle, just real quick, I gotta just clear the air real quick. So I had been offered an opportunity to headline. I was gonna have it recorded. It was a half an hour, and I thought that the notion that a place was called Jolly Bean's Magic Castle and I was gonna be headlining it was so cool. I told everyone that I knew that I was headlining Jolly Bean's Magic Castle. 2 weeks later, I'm on the elliptical at the gym. I've got my earbuds in. I'm playing like 60s rock. I'm having my own Vietnam movie on the elliptical. That's what I do. On the news, Jolly Bean's Magic Castle. Caught up in a... Oh, man. And from that moment, I decided to rethink everything I ever did in my life and somehow landed on still doing stand-up comedy. So if anything, I haven't learned a goddamn thing. All right, are you guys ready for your next comedian? All right, when I moved to Nashville, she was so awesome and so supportive that I was almost certain she was going to try and sell me Amway later. When it turned out she was just a great human, that turned out to be even better. Make it loud for Marianna Barksdale.
You guys, they forced me to do a shot earlier, okay? Yeah, it's not on camera. They were like, don't get to the camera, okay? What happened, right? Just want to let everybody. You know what? You guys, I've been watching you guys. I could roundhouse kick any one of you in here. I'll do it too. I'll do it. I'm gonna start fighting you guys. I gotta get back here though because you can't see your feet. I really want my shoes to show. All I really care about is if people know that I have cool yellow shoes. I'm gonna do my whole set from over here. I don't remember any of it. Any of it! All I've noticed so far is that this microphone says ass. It says ass. Here, don't worry. Gotcha. It says ass. It says A5. But it says ass, alright? It just depends on how you look at it, alright? This is the only thing I've ever wanted to do in my life is to perform in this garage. I've been waiting for this, you guys. I live 8 minutes away from here. I think my cat's gonna show up. His name's Hans Anthony Halyard. He's my baby. It's okay. I should have brought him, you know. I should just bring him. I should get a tattoo of a cat. I look like I have a tattoo of a cat. This is not material. This is just stuff. This is just who I am. What else was I going to say? Oh my god. Okay, see, I wasn't going to use notes because I wanted to be more professional, but like, I had a concussion when I was 25. I like ran into a concrete wall really, really fast. And then since then, like I just haven't been really the same. So, you know, CTE is real, right? Yeah. Somebody, you know, I'm starting to wonder if any of you guys are real. You real. Did I make you open my head? I think I did. Because he likes Little Caesar's pizza. Pizza, pizza! Does anybody else like Little Caesar's pizza? Woo! Who doesn't like Little Caesar's pizza? Every time I see pictures of anyone in this garage, there's Little Caesar's pizza. That's why I wanted to be here. You guys, have you ever gone on a vacation and been like, this is a really good place to be murdered? Right? Yeah. I went on vacation in the middle of nowhere a few weeks ago, and I don't like to vacation where I can be eaten by bears or townsfolk, you know? Right? Like, have you heard of the movie The Hills Have Eyes? The Hills Have more eyes than teeth. And I'm not saying that they didn't have teeth. I'm saying that they had too many eyes. Like potatoes. Yeah. I love that joke. I don't care. Fuck you guys. You don't like it as much as me. I love that joke. That's my favorite joke. I'm going to sell you guys some Amway after this. This is my ploy. I'm just getting everybody pumped up so I can make some money. My whole life's just a pyramid scheme. That's what I look like a girl who does a pyramid scheme. Yeah, that's who I am. What else was in that joke? Vacation murder. That's what it's called. Just a little inside the actor's studio. Is it cool if I do like a headliner 45?
It'll do it.
All right. We're going to be here all night. But again, this is my dream come true. You guys, have you ever looked at Facebook and then you see that two people that you know that don't know each other have the same birthday and you're just like, something bigger is happening. Right, like I'm not into astrology, but I am an Aries Taurus cusp, which is the cusp of power, which means I don't care what any of your star signs are. Okay, all my charts say I should be a dictator or a real estate agent. Anybody who owns a house knows what I'm talking about. But yeah, I'm an Aries Taurus cusp. Oh yeah, my birthday's on 4/20. Does anybody know who was born on 4/20?
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, you know. Let's pretend like that hand gesture was a little bit different. Okay, so I'm canceled. So that's fine. Hitler was born on 4/20, exactly. Lots of other dictators were also born on 4/20. They're so famous that you don't even have to you don't even have to say their names. Like that's how famous they are. So I was born on 4/20 also. That's my birthday. It's a great birthday because it's a holiday, but it's not a holiday where you have to see your parents. Right? I like to take my birthday off from work too. So like I was asking my boss for the day off, but I'm 34, so I'm kind of like, I don't want to ask for like, oh, can I have my birthday off? Ugh. Like a little kid. So he was just like, well, why do you need a PTO day? And I was like, to smoke weed. Duh. Right? Have you ever noticed that women will be like, I'm planning a party and it starts a year from now? And men will be like, I'm planning a party and it started an hour ago? Right? Maybe not the right crowd, right? Amway, I remember. Supposed to be going into my Amway speech now. I don't even know what Amway is. I know, but it does seem, I know I should be selling it. I have so much potential. I should be scamming people left and right. Right? I have dimples. It's like how you scam people. You just show them dimples and you're just like, this is gonna be You're gonna get screwed. I have no idea how I'm married. No idea how I tricked somebody into marrying me. I know. Thank you. Okay. Oh, I had to get an allergy test the other day. I was allergic to the allergy test. Right? I know, and that's how white I am. They do 80 scratches, and I got 80 cheese puffs on the back of my back. You heard. When you do that, you have to get the blood test. So they draw blood from you, and then the woman that was drawing my blood, she saw my phone background, which is my cat, and she was like, "Well, what are you gonna do if you're allergic to your cat?" And I was like, "Probably a murder-suicide." Definitely a murder-suicide. I don't know what kind of relationships you guys have with your cat, okay? It sounds like not very special ones. When my cat comes home, it's like a war ended. It's like he came back from war. Okay? I don't know. Matthew, I'm sorry. You're going to get COVID from this microphone. I'm like holding it in my mouth. And about that shot earlier, the last time I did a shot, I got COVID. So watch out. It's around. I know you're not supposed to say it, but like, it's around. I'm like a lot more physical when I'm wasted. That sounded terrible. You shouldn't say that into a microphone. I thank God this isn't being recorded. She says into the microphone, into the camera, phone. I'm so glad you got that. That was an alliteration. Right? There should be more alliterations in comedy, right? Yeah, I say right too much. I went to a private yoga class the other day. Right? I know, so fancy. I didn't know it was a private yoga class when I signed up for it, though. It turns out that the creepier the yoga teacher, the more private the yoga class. About 10 minutes in, I was like, oh yeah, yoga needs witnesses. Yeah, he was like, namaste. I was like, nah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna get out of here. So I went to a class with more witnesses. I went to spin class. A lot of people in spin class. I don't know why. But I don't know how you work out in a rave. That's my thing. You know, they give you Molly at the front door. That was great. Big fan. Keep that part. But then you go in, and this woman is screaming at you into a headset. And she's like, leave it on the bike! And I did. I fainted. Fainted onto the woman next to me. So I can't work out those two different ways. So I was like, oh, I'm going to go jogging, right? Low key, all you need is some freaking sneakers that are yellow and cool. I go jogging, I'm like, this is free, it takes 6 minutes because I can't jog very far, this is great. 6 minutes away from my house, I get chased back home by a Doberman Pinscher. I learned how to jump a fence that day. I think that's where parkour started. Running away from dogs. Yeah, that dog could have ripped me to pieces, so. Okay. I'll laugh at that one. Okay. I'm really glad that they have this light because you can't see all my age. I guess I should stand closer to it. What if I just did the rest of my set like this? It's like a monologue in the light. This is just like an Andy Kaufman thing now. You guys, you're all my prisoners until I leave. This is great. I don't even have to leave. You didn't even give me a time limit. This is why you're supposed to give crazy people a time limit. I'm going to hide in all these curtains now. All right, I'm having more fun than it. You guys, why does the word worship only apply to church and porn? Why is that the only place people use the word worship? It's just like if a guy were to tell me that he worshipped anything other than the Lord or feet, it's just like, what a fucking weirdo. What a fucking weirdo. Okay. I feel like this my ending should have been like curling up in the curtains, but I'm gonna leave you here because you guys have been laughing and I've been really happy. Thank you so much. My name is Marianna Barksdale. Oh, and I want to say this. I'm Matthew Blevins' biggest fan, so suck it.
One more time for Marianna Barksdale. The rest of you can suck it. You can all suck it. Oh my goodness gracious. Marianna gave me an amulet that emits light when I got here. That was handy. Some bread that never goes stale. It's fantastic. Some Lord of the Rings shit. Hey, how about before we get our headliner up here, somebody bring me a shot. Let's do one shot. If anybody's on board for a shot, just let them know up here. They'll get you a shot. But the help. This is the help. All right, one more time for the Deliciously Nothing podcast. All right, without further ado, let's get your headliner up here. He was nominated for an Omaha Entertainment Award in 2017. He was an Omaha Clash of the Comics winner in 2021. He was the headliner of a sketchy comedy festival in Atlanta. Give it up for the very adequate Matthew Blevins. Excited to be here, you guys, because I'm a dad and my kids aren't here. Oh man, I have a new favorite game as a dad. It's called Lying to My Children. It's a real easy game, but it takes a lot of time. Basically, what you do is you just lie to them, and every lie that you can convince them of all the way to adulthood, you get 1 point for. My mom, she's the undefeated champ at this game. She called me the other day, she's like, hey, guess what? Your dad's not really your dad, and you're not really Mexican. 2 points, bitch. Click. That's right, I've been stealing Mexican valor this whole time. Just running around telling people I was half Mexican. But Mom pulled the old white trash okey doke is what happened. That's when a white girl would get knocked up in high school and then find a Mexican guy who didn't mind a big belly so much, which turns out that's a lot of them. They just generally, see, nobody ever comes along with the laughter on the racist part of that joke, but it's just, and then you convince him to raise the baby with you. White women could get away with this in the 80s. But then Maury Povich came along in 92 and messed it up for everybody. Meanwhile, I had to wander around all the family reunions, wondering why I was the only one who got sunburned every year. My grandma called me a pussy because of my lack of spice tolerance. Yeah, you know, I have teenage kids at home, and they're starting to get jobs now, which I was psyched about, because it's like, heck yeah, I got a job when I was a teenager, and that's where I learned my work ethic. And then I thought long and hard about it. I don't have a work ethic. It took me 2 weeks to write that joke in a notebook. That's my work ethic. My notebook was in the basement. I didn't want to go down and get it. I almost lost this joke idea. That's my work ethic. The only thing that I learned from my job as a teenager was like 6 ways to get high in a kitchen. That was the... That's it. Which is important. It's an important. My parents, they were like, "Don't let me catch you doing that again." That's what they would say every time I got in trouble. Like I get like caught huffing all the whipped cream canisters in the walk-in cooler, and my parents would be like, "Don't let us catch you doing that again." which I don't know what like message that was supposed to send. But I know the one I got was be a troublemaking ninja. That's just do all of your shady stuff by cover of night. I had to find a sensei. And, you know, this is Nebraska City, Nebraska. You're not going to find a Mr. Miyagi who teaches you that bonsai trees are the way to salvation, or karate from the heart, all that stuff. You're not going to find that in Nebraska City. You're going to find a 27-year-old dude named Mike, and he'll teach you how to do whippets at a Star Trek convention. The only thing Mike had in common with Mr. Miyagi is he had charges from beating up a bunch of teenagers. That's the only thing. I met up with Mike recently. Mike works at the Walmart in my hometown. He's peddling his bonsai wares in the hardware section these days. And Mike told me, I told him about this joke, and he told me, yeah, that's funny, but you were the one who taught me how to do whippets on that Star Trek convention trip. So the student has become the master, you guys. Hell yeah. I graduated from... See, my parents, they had no idea what to do with me. I don't know what to do with me. So, like, how could they know? It was like, my parents raising me, it was a little bit like a couple of squirrels trying to program a VCR. Like, they'll hit a couple of the right buttons, but overall, they're just filling a VCR with squirrel shit. That's all they're getting done. That's why I became an IT guy. I know, I look like an IT guy for a motorcycle club. You're not far off. I'm a systems administrator. I became an IT guy so that I could try and find antivirus software that could get all of the stuff my family left in my head right out of there. I haven't found anything yet. My brothers, they tried whiskey. That didn't work either, but they got child support payments out of that. That's all that you can get out of that. That's too real. You're supposed to have punchlines and stuff, and I just come up here and talk about my family and just tell secrets about them into cameras and stuff. That's why I'm not invited to any more like Thanksgivings or anything. And yeah, it's whatever. You know, I've made lots of mistakes in my life. I was a film critic for a number of years, for crying out loud. Like, it took me 10 years to be able to say that in front of people. In 2011, if you told somebody that I'm a film critic, they would throw pennies at you. And that's the appropriate response. I watched over 4,000 movies. I was trying to find one depiction of childhood that was like remotely as weird as mine, and I couldn't find a single representation. It doesn't exist in all of cinema. Well, the way I got into film criticism is that as a teenage boy, I would stay up all night watching HBO in the hopes that I could find one thing that I could masturbate to before morning. And sometimes, instead of like giving me the spicy stuff, they would just play good movies. So I ended up getting blue-balled into being cultured. That's what ended up happening to me. This is fun because, like, I haven't told my employers that I'm a comic yet. I'm waiting until I'm too important to fire. That's what I'm waiting for. Which maybe never. They might not ever figure out I'm a comic, but I do leave like traces of my day job in my car at all times, because I treat it like white privilege camouflage. I figure like if I get pulled over, I can show them like, oh, my kids go to middle school, here's my laptop, I'm a fancy man about town. Instead of this derelict who took shots on cameras. I'm not. It's like I'm a superhero, but only the secret identity actually has any utility. It's like, by day I'm an IT guy. I can actually solve your problems. I am useful. I should be concentrating all my efforts into that. But then by night, I'm Captain Dick Joke. Like talking about my mediocre dick in front of crowds who didn't want to hear it. Just satiating my need for constant validation in every microphone that will let me get its hands on it. So why did I get into comedy then? Like, why would a 42-year-old man who has kids that are at home right now wishing I'd help them with their homework, but is like, screw you guys, I'm doing art tonight. Like, why would I be doing this with my time? Well, like 10 years ago, I started having health problems. Basically, was just constantly in pain, constantly nauseous, just having issues all day, every day. My blood pressure was like 220/110, and I was shaking from pain just day in, day out. And the doctors, they diagnosed me with what was called carcinoid tumors. They were supposedly these microscopic tumors that were in my gastrointestinal system, and they would secrete serotonin, which is supposed to make people happy, but my body's so dumb, it's like, we're going to turn that into sadness. That's what, we're going to take this fun factory and make you miserable for about 4 or 5 years. In 2014, I had to go to the hospital every day, twice a day, for the entire year, to get shots in my stomach for this condition. And when I was younger, I'd always thought, this would be a funny idea. If I ever did comedy, this would be a funny idea to do on stage. I should write that down. And then I never would write it down, ever. Because it's like, well, you're never going to get the guts necessary to do this, so don't bother writing it down. After 700 and some odd injections in my gut, I ran out of fear and decided that I would dedicate my life to be the second most hated profession after film critic is stand-up comic. And it's been great. I feel so much better. My health condition has improved dramatically, and I'm happy, and everything's been wonderful. And it almost makes me think that the doctors got it drastically wrong. I don't know if I had carcinoid disease. I think what I had was a bad case of marriage. That was, it was like my body had heard that till death do us part thing, and it was like, oh, we're gonna have to murder ourselves to get out of this. That's the only way out. That's the only way out of this. No, guys, you can just get a prescription for divorce. That's all you need. That's all you need. Because, part of my problem was anytime I would go to, a party, which I was a film critic, I didn't go to a lot of parties. But when I did go, I would just find one person who was willing to talk to me, and then I'd just match energy with that person for the rest of the night. Just jump right into a codependent relationship with a stranger, so I didn't have to be socially awkward. I did that so well one time that I ended up marrying her for 11 years. Yeah. Here's a video, HBO may see. Didn't get to bed last night. I was waiting for the plane because back in the USSR starts with a plane, and never mind. You guys nobody got it. I'm old. That's what that is. Yeah. That gal, she ended up like canoodling with more river folk than a lady of ill repute in a Mark Twain novel. That was my first marriage. That's just the fancy way of like saying she slept with a dude on a pontoon boat. That's a pretty unfancy act, but that was a fancy way of saying it, I think. I feel like I bummed everybody out with my dumb health problems. Like, I came here for a comedy show, and this asshole's doing a Hannah Gatsby in the middle of a goddamn garage. What am I doing with my life? Oh, man. Yeah, I talk a lot of shit about my childhood. It's just what I do primarily because it sucked. Okay, let's just be honest. It sucked. But also, it's kind of handy as a stand-up comic to be able to just say true things into a microphone and get responses out of it. That's fantastic. Just be raised broken enough to where, like, speaking things that happen to you into a PA system brings you money and happiness. That's how broken you have to be to keep doing this. But it wasn't all bad in my childhood. Like, we had some moments. Like, we went to Disneyland one time. It wasn't like we didn't fly out there. We went in a camper. Not one of those fancy drive-in RV type things. This was one of those campers that went on the back of a pickup truck. Right? Just held on there with duct tape and just pure white trash, like, hopefulness that we were gonna live our manifest destiny and make it out to California just one time in our god-awful lives. We all got ringworm by the time we got there. This was the Oregon Trail, but way worse. My parents, we stopped in Las Vegas for several days. I don't know if that was part of the Disneyland adventure. My parents just stumbled back into the camper and puked on one of us and then called it a day. That was probably more for their fun. But I remember that summer because I spent all summer long scrounging up couch cushion pennies and like pop cans. I would recycle pop cans, anything I could do to get enough money so that I could buy my own Disneyland souvenir. Because that was my dream as a child. I would be able to go in there and buy a Disneyland souvenir. And I managed to scrounge up $20, which that was a lot of money for me back then. And I just checked my bank account, and that's a lot of money for me right now. That's not an unsubstantial amount of money. And my folks were like, let me hold on to that for you, which is like, like, I should have known better. But you know me and my codependent relationships with strangers, I also had that with my parents. They should have been strangers, and I was in a codependent relationship with them. So they, I think they lost all that money in Las Vegas is what happened. Well, it's not all sad though, because when we got to the Disneyland gift shop, that's where I learned my most important lesson about parenting. Is when I picked that gift out, I could see it in my dad's eyes that he's like, I screwed this up. That money's gone. There's nothing I can do to fix this. And then I watched my dad take that souvenir and he shoved it up his shirt and walked right out of the front door of the Disneyland gift shop with it. I learned a lot of things about life right there. That was one of the most important moments in my life. I learned how to be a father in that moment, I think. Really. I would do lots of things for my kids. I would do anything for my kids. I would do stand-up comedy on a Friday to avoid my kids. Like, but I would never just be willing to take an absolute ass beating from some dude in a Goofy costume for shoplifting from Disneyland. That didn't end strong. That joke was more tragic and Dickensian. It took a lot of twists and turns, but we all got there together. That's... Oh, crying out loud. Those guys are going somewhere nicer. So I told you about my health problems. And, you know, my body is just always mad at me. If I try, it's just like, what are you doing? And if I don't try, it's like, dude, get it together. Those are the only two phases for my body. It's like either mad at me for not, or mad at me for. But was anybody old enough to play the original Nintendo? Yeah, you got a couple of old. So, remember that one controller that would never quite work? It would never quite work right. Like you'd have one controller that was always screwed up, and you'd give that one to your brother because it's like, yeah. But then there was always one autistic cousin in the trailer park that could come over and use that broken controller, and he would play it in a way that was like a virtuoso on the piano kind of thing. It's like everything everything that was broken about this kid was meant for that controller specifically. But I feel like my soul, right, is that autistic cousin. And it chose this shitty controller to play the Super Mario Brother game of life with. I don't always get the flag on that first try. Damn it, I'm... Alright. That was my attempt at trying to formulate a profound thought, you know? You know, where your brain's like, this is for the ages. This is the prose that you were meant to bring to this world right here. And then, like, I remember I went to college at ITT Technical Institute. I'm not supposed to have profound thoughts to offer in the first place. Like, I went to the mall perfume kiosk of colleges. That was... I got my degree in computers and stuff. That's what it says on my diploma. Computers and stuff. I got a minor in Mountain Dew flavors for crying out loud. So yeah, I should just try not to have, if I have I'm too tired for profound thoughts, you guys. I have teenage children at home. I told you guys that I was out of fear back in that TED Talk earlier. That's not true. I had teenage kids at home now, and now I know what fear really is. Fear is not sitting in a hospital twice a day waiting for a shot while you just shiver and hate your ex-wife. That's not fear. Fear is watching all of your psychological defects come to life and then get to be as tall as you. That's fear. But then one of my friends was like, okay, maybe you don't get to have the profound thoughts because all you know about is Doogie Howser MD Season 2, which you can't shut up about. But you're raising the next generation of profound thinkers. you know, that made me feel really good to be a dad, because it's like, yeah, I am like bringing up the next crop of profound thinkers. Hell yeah. That's what I'm dedicating my life to, other than this silly stuff. Then, one of my children asked me what kind of meat was in the chicken Alfredo. My whole life has been a waste. That's what... I told her tuna, by the way. Which is the chicken of the sea. So I just straight up lied to her and said, it's tuna. I didn't have the heart to, like, it's chicken. Like, what's wrong with you? You want to get a job and you don't know what kind of meat is in chicken Alfredo, and you're going into fast food. I don't. But then I remembered, she keeps thinking that's tuna. That's one whole point in 2 years, you guys. I'm gonna beat my parents after all. You guys have been fantastic. Thank you so much to Deliciously Nothing, to Seth Kays, Emily Nakanishi, Nic Weir, Tony Geist, Marianna Barksdale. I've been Matthew Blevins. Thank you all for coming out. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Do as much time as you want. Just have fun with it. We're in a garage. Just like make each other happy. Like for a few brief moments of life, we can smile and not be at some shitty open mic where everybody doesn't want to be there. Like we can pretend we want to be here for one night. That's my Braveheart speech. I've never done one of those before.
That's it.